To begin this presentation, I'd like to introduce my co-stars. These are family members who will be joining me later for more of the discussion. Our topic is the mobile internet, and it's actually the fourth revolution in digital computer technology. There are three parts to this story. One is the mobility that's going to be brought about by powerful, lightweight, always-on devices. Second is touchscreen technology in a variety of forms. And third is the app model, which will be replacing traditional software delivery. What the heck is an app anyway? It's a widely used expression, but all it is a program. You used to install software, now you install apps. That's it. It's just a new name for something you've been using for years. Today, everything we're going to see will be apps. A few came with the devices. Others I downloaded. Many are free. Some cost between $1 and $4, but others up to $1,000. Here's an example. A recipe book, Betty Crocker Cookbook, Impossibly Easy Italian Chicken Pie, and many, many other recipes that you can search for by keywords such as strawberry desserts or chocolate salads or whatever you have in mind. And it will give you the complete instructions and lead you through the cooking process. If you are involved in radiology and you want to study, you can use an app to do that, to look at various x-rays. You could also use it to look at the x-rays from a patient. If you were a physician away from the hospital, you could call up x-rays, MRI scans, and other various patient data remotely with a tablet or a smartphone. Here's an example of using a tablet, but using it as an ebook reader. And there are specialized ebook readers, but most tablet devices will be ebook readers as well. And here we're taking a look at Winnie the Pooh and some bees, and the stories begin. This is an example of using a tablet as a navigation device. As we were driving through Chicago, I, in the navigation seat, was watching our car in live motion in the center of the screen as we traveled on our way back to Minneapolis, and I could look around to watch out for traffic problems indicated by yellow and green streaks on the freeway, and could have diverted us off of the main road if there'd been problems ahead. Here's one where I took a message to my friend Wynn up in the upper left-hand corner, and I said, "How are you? My name is Gary." And over in the right, it was translated into Welsh. And since Wynn was of Welsh origin, this was something he might be able to read. And with a click of the mouse, with a click of my finger, I could transmit this email message off to Wynn. The question is, what about real computers? What's going to happen to them? This is the desktop setup I have in my office, a obviously large computer on the left, and a laptop on the right, and a spare monitor in the center. I use these all the time. I still use these. And the question is, what's going to happen to them with tablet computers and other devices? Well, PCs and Macs are going to be around for many, many years. Tablets will put them in their place. And so what is their place? Well, the attributes of a PC are they have large screens, powerful processors, good keyboards, a mouse, and large hard drives. What kind of programs need that? Well, video production, photo editing, high-end gaming, publications, website design, software development, and some business applications. These all need the power of a computer. Most of us do not do those things very much. We do web surfing, we do email, we do other lightweight applications that don't require these technologies. Most routine office work will be done on a tablet in the future. Email and web surfing, online systems for event planning and membership activities, tablets and smartphones will be your most used computers in the very near future. This is an example, if you haven't used one. This is a smartphone. This is the iPhone that I use all the time. This is the screen on my iPad. So they're very similar, and in fact, everything you do is initiated by the touch of an icon on the screen with your finger. Now, we all like to read newspapers, and when you do that, though, for a full week, what do you get? Well, you get 16 pounds of paper and 16 pages of one company's version of yesterday's news. I like to read newspapers too, but I read all of these, the Star, the New York Times, the Washington Post, USA Today. I read all of these in the morning, sitting at my kitchen table and reading them on my tablet. Now, with a large screen, like you have on a tablet device, you can see a full, very impressive view of a newspaper and thumb through it with your fingers on the touch screen like you thumb through a paper version. And I read these papers wherever I am, whenever it is convenient, and I can read dozens of other magazines the same way if I decide to do it. These are all online. If I want to look at the stock market, and people do that from time to time, here's a free app that lets me look at any set of stocks that I want to and track to see how they're doing. There's dozens of these kind of apps available. There's a spreadsheet on a tablet. It's not a toy. It's got a spreadsheet, it's got a word processor, it's got a presentation program, which I have been using since the iPad came out in April for all of my presentations. If you want to look at more artistic aspects, you can look up, go to museum sites, read about and view works of art. If you're interested in the weather, and of course we all are interested in the weather, we can see that weather forecast and watch the weather fellow do the kind of thing that he would do on television. If you're inclined to be involved with mathematics, you can always go look up the definition of the derivative in case you've forgotten what that is. But if your needs are more mundane, you might want to practice things like dividing fractions, something that will come in handy, I'm sure, from time to time. But this points out how schools are using and going to be using this technology to replace their textbooks for everything from science to math. Here's an example of the periodic chart, which hangs on every chemistry wall in the country, but this one is more interactive. If you touch any of the elements in the chart, it will show its properties up at the top of the screen in detail. If you're studying Japanese and have this app, it will not only pronounce an audio of the word, but show you both the English translation and the Japanese pronunciation. I like to do photo editing, but Photoshop can be a very daunting program. It costs anywhere from $90 to $600 depending on the version. I use a very inexpensive few dollar photo app, many of them as a matter of fact, to do things like modify this picture of the Duluth Lighthouse into some very more interesting forms. And I do it with one or two fingers. Healthcare is going to be huge. It's going to be one of the biggest beneficiaries of mobile technology. Here's an app that would help you studying dentistry. It's a $400 program. If you want something simpler and just want to learn the parts of the brain, if you're a student, you can rotate around with your finger and pick various parts and see them exposed in this cutaway view, and do the same thing with the heart. I hope that your heart surgeon and your brain surgeon have more powerful versions of these free programs, but I think you can get the idea of where we're going. In this case, I took an app called the Calorie Counter, touched with restaurants and chains, picked out Burger King by touching Burger King, and I can see that a bacon double cheeseburger has 510 calories, and if I say I had one for breakfast, that will be recorded in my health record, or my unhealth record, if you will, along with my exercise schedule that I list every time I go to the gym. If I want to use this with my football team, I can use it with my finger to diagram on the pad the positions I want each player to be in. And I could do it for any sport that operates on a field like this. I can watch movies, watch Netflix movies right on a tablet, and while I'm watching, I can transmit them wirelessly over to my television set. This is the way of the future in your living room. You won't be getting as much of your television from the cable company or from the dish companies, various dish companies. You're going to be getting much of it over the internet and then transmitting it to various devices, whether it's radios or television sets in your house. It's going to be a huge change in the next few years. Of course, you can bring up a keyboard and play music on it. I like to do a lot with photography, and so this is a photograph of one of the stars of my program here. This is my grandson Peter, number 9. But the fun things you can do, again, with the photo editing, really change some of these pictures. Here's a modified version where he was playing goalie, going after the ball, and you can see that he's being chased down by some of the other players. And another version for his twin brother Adam, who's got some competition coming right at him. But of course, back to the real things you'll want to use. This is a shared calendar where I can see what I'm going to be doing in October, and I can view this on my tablet, I can view it on my phone, I can view it any place on the internet, and of course I can view it in my computer when I happen to be in the office. The same tablet, all synchronized. And here's the weekly view to show the places I'm going to be speaking this particular week in October. You need a contact manager, and again, this one is shared amongst all my devices, from smartphone to tablet to computer. There's Win Davies on the left, and if I touch his name, I will find out all his contact information. The question is, where are we heading? What's going to be the future? Well, right now it's pretty dismal, the situation with all of the gadgets, and the tablet computers and smartphones just look like more gadgets that are coming up to fill our desks and our pockets. But in the future, because of the power of the smartphones and the power of the tablets, it's going to coalesce down into something more like this. PCs and laptops on the left are going to survive. Tablets and smartphones are going to survive in the middle and grow more prominent. And that the high-end cameras are still going to be there because you cannot put the optics of a powerful SLR into a smartphone, no matter how hard you squeeze. Here's one important thing about apps. App software is easy to select, easy to purchase, easy to install, easy to learn, and easy to upgrade. Have you ever heard software in the past described that way? I doubt it very much. This is why the next revolution is going to happen quickly, because the results of all these changes are going to be much more palatable to human beings, much more fun to use than anything we've seen in the last few years with PCs. Here's an example. We argue about keyboards. Some people don't like certain kinds of keyboards. Most people don't like small keyboards. But if you want to, with a smartphone or a tablet, you have an app that you can dictate. And when you tap and dictate one function, it starts recording. You say your message, and when you're done, it translates it into text. Here's an example. Hi, everyone. Isn't it great to be here at Old Mexico Restaurant in Roseville? I hope you're having as much fun as I am. I dictated that message, it was translated into text, and I could click the button to send it off as an email message or paste it into a document if I wanted to. Here's another one. I looked up Old Mexico by doing a voice Google search. I spoke the words Old Mexico, Roseville, Minnesota, and up popped a Google search on my iPhone, and I could see exactly what I'd seen if I had typed in a Google search on my computer. And finally, business cards be gone. If you haven't bumped yet, you haven't lived. If you want to, you can tap your phone against my phone, and that's how we'll exchange our contact information. The business card is not necessary if you have this. I could also give you some photos, request that I follow you on Twitter, do all of those things by tapping our phones together. So, it's going to be an entirely different but very exciting new world during the fourth revolution. Thank you all very much.